What up, Bucs fans? We are live here on a Friday, a special live stream for Real Bucs Talk. I'm your host, Michael Plus. Join as always my co-host, Mark Ramirez. And Mark, it's been a pretty good week, I would say, for the Buccaneers. Did a lot of good things. Obviously, we talked about it on, I believe, Monday. The re-signings of Jamel Dean, getting back Levante David. Just a lot of good stuff that took place, but in today's show, we're going to get a nice deep dive into Baker Mayfield and the addition of him and what it could mean for this Buccaneers offense. Obviously, him being brought in to compete with Kyle Trask. But before we get all into that, Mark, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Happy St. Patrick's Day as well. And everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I made my own little concoction of something. So, guys, if you want to make your own thing, come join us for an hour or so, and let's talk about Baker Mayfield. Yeah, just another Friday, but good, happy to talk some Buck football. Other than that, yeah, huge signing, but it's not a big signing. If you think about it, only $4 million guaranteed, 8.5 potentially if he plays up to that standard, and it's a competition job. It's not like his to have, but we'll talk about why I think he has the leg up on Trask, even though Trask has been around this team. It's almost like a starting from anew with Dave Canales here in a new system. And supposedly Trask is a slow learner, so that doesn't help him out either. So, and then Baker coming from a similar offense, I think he's just got a good leg up on him, and he has traits that kind of fit today's modern offense, and that's something we've talked about in the past too. So, a lot of fun things to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll still be a competition. Even Jason Light said it's going to be the first quarterback competition, for his tenure, being here, for 10 years now, or going on 10 years. And yeah, I mean, I think it's all good, bringing in a guy with this type of competitor, also has experience, former number one draft pick. I think that is all good, and it should only help Kyle Trask become better. He knows he has to raise his game, and if Kyle does win the job, then I think it speaks to Kyle Trask and who he is as a quarterback, and also, it's good for the franchise and good going forward. So, and like you said, it's a low risk, high reward move, and adding Baker because the contract is really nothing. There's nothing there. So if it works, then obviously it has the upside for future years. But if it doesn't, then you're still in a great spot to go out and whether that's Kyle Trask or go out and get a quarterback for 2024 and into the future. But yeah, really excited about that. What's your thoughts of just the other moves they made? They did sign Chase Edmonds as well, bringing him into the mix. I think that's a solid move. So your thoughts on that, Levante, et cetera?
Yeah, I think that's stuff that we talked about during the week. Like they probably listened to Dave Canales and said, "What do you need to make this offense work?" Right? Like Todd Bowles, we already know he's been here since BA. We know what type of defenders he likes, and Todd Bowles probably like, "I'm comfortable with what I have. I need to bring some pieces back, but Dave, you just get whatever the heck you need to be successful on offense because we need to get that thing rolling." Because we've seen from years past, the defense is usually the only consistent part of the team. Everyone gets mad because, oh, they're not holding people to 0 points. You're never going to do that. You just have to hold them to a reasonable amount and have your offense score one more point than the other team. Leftwich last year couldn't do that. Hopefully Dave Canales with a new system and getting guys that he likes in here will help with that. But Chase Edmonds, I think, is a huge pass catching option, shifty type of guy. Like if you look at some of the Rams tape that we see from Baker Mayfield, it's just a lot of quick speed and space guys, and that's what Chase Edmonds is. And I think that's what Dave Canales wants. Guys like Rashad White, Chase Edmonds, like Leonard Fournette was not that. He's a reliable pass blocker, good catcher, but he was not quick. So I think these are the mold of guys we're looking for to match with our two big guys on the outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, I like it. There's a video coming out on Chase Edmonds here shortly. So we'll have that, within the next couple of days, just discussing it. But also, people in the chat were talking about Jonah Williams. Charlie brought it up. He's probably most likely not an option. So you won't see him coming in. 12.6 million cap hit and really average left tackle. He hasn't been very good, plus dislocated knee as well. Yeah, I don't see that being an option for the Buccaneers. And he's going to need a new contract too. So he's going to want to get, high end money.
Contract that ends with
Yeah.
attrition works. So you're going to pay both tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it works in theory. You can keep Jonah Williams Jonah Williams at left tackle and Wirfs at right, but I would think Wirfs is better, and still you'd want to switch that, and he doesn't want to switch. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think it's going to work just based off the money, even though sometimes the cap is weird and you think you can just fit everything in. This one, they're really holding the books this time. They're making up for all the 100 million that they spent over the cap, like Jason Light said during the Jamel Dean and Anthony Nelson press conference. He's like, "Oh, we would have done it again if we had to, because we had those 3 years of potentially making Super Bowl runs." So I think they're staying true to their word. They're not going to spend too much, but they're spending smartly, and they're getting guys that they know that they need to make the system work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, with Chase Edmonds, I think that makes a lot of sense. Bringing back Anthony Nelson, I was like kind of iffy on that one, but again, it makes sense from scheme standpoint, and also a guy that brings good depth. You know what you're going to get from him. Aaron Stinney, same thing. You sign him back cheap. It gives you depth and a guy that could start if needed. But again, doesn't have to be relied on as of now. So I like that. And I like overall. I mean, overall, right now, they are playing it smart. They're being patient. They're looking for value. And hopefully, some of these guys they can get, later down the road, maybe before the draft or after, where you can bring in some veterans along, the lines and, make your roster a little bit more deeper with guys that have some upside, maybe some older, not too old, but like mid prime free agents, in that 26, 28 range. That's what you're looking for. That can offer some upside.
And the biggest signing of them all, thankfully, he's staying at Buccaneer for at least one more year, Mr. Levante David. Just give it to him. Like the longest tenured Buck, a guy that, he at the end of his career, he wants to win, and he still chose to stay here. The Bills' job was kind of, I thought he was going to take that, but hey, thank you for staying. Hopefully we can make it exciting for you. And just another year helping mature Devin White, hopefully getting him a contract is probably what he's hoping for. But I don't know. Either way, a lot of good, smart signings. Still a lot to go. I mean, the defensive line is barren.
Yeah.
If we're going in there with Logan Hall and Vita Vea on the inside, and that's about it because there's not many other big guys behind them.
Right.
There's going to be a whole lot of more holes to fit. William Golston is still a free agent. Do we bring him back? I know you're iffy about bringing back Carl Nassib because that would mean like we don't kind of go after any edge rushers. So,
yeah,
I mean, there's a whole lot of more question marks, but early on, first week, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, be on the lookout for a video on that coming out tomorrow morning, talking about the defensive line and edge position and why it's necessary the Buccaneers attack it, whether it's in free agency or in the draft. And if you guys follow the channel, you guys know we're a big proponent of that. All our draft studies have been on edge with BJ Ojulari, Nolan Smith, and also King Felix, that I like to call him because I don't want to mispronounce his name. But all those guys I think would be awesome value. And we'll just have to see how it plays out. But more to come with the draft prospects. We can't wait to get more into that as we get closer and closer. The draft is only like 6 weeks away or something like that. It's not far out. So really exciting times.
Always is. I mean, you're getting almost potentially 5-6 new players to your team. Like you can deep dive into who are these guys? Could they be like the next Tom Brady or Brock Purdy, or could it be potentially someone like that? Or is it just a Roberto Aguayo, right? So, I mean, either way, it's fun, exciting, the drama show that is the NFL. Trade ups, trade downs. It's going to be fun regardless. The draft videos, yes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, everything like the Berman talk, Todd McShay, and what's the name? What's the guy with the hair? Mel Kiper. just
Yeah, Mel
talking
Kiper.
trash left and right. It's always fun
Mhm.
to watch. And then Juice with old Gruden, but poor guy is no longer there. Uh, but
Yeah, yeah. Bud
but
asked a good question here on Robert Hainsey. I think you could see him at one of the guard spots. I think that's definitely possible. Just depending on who your tackles are going to be. Obviously, Worst is going to be one of them, but we don't know who's going to be the other. So yeah, definitely Hainsey will be in the mix. I think for guard or your backup center behind Jensen. Do you agree with that? You see that as well?
yeah, I mean, the amount of experience and just time he had last year starting the
Mhm.
entire season, it's only going to be helping for his position next year. I mean, he was drafted as a center guard. I mean, he played what I think it was right tackle at Notre Dame, and then just decided to fall inside.
Right.
He plays everywhere, so I think he's more than capable of playing guard and finding his niche in there too. Just until Jensen leaves, he's been a warrior, kind of just even playing through injury. So I think Hainsey's very much in position to find himself as a starting guard somewhere along our lines because yeah, Shaq Mason's gone. The whole interior is going to probably be flip flopped unless just Leverett stays. Jensen fills his original spot at center, and then I would think Hainsey would take over.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a lot of moving pieces. It's just the beginning. We're just
Yeah.
figuring out who the heck we have first.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a younger offensive line for sure. It's going to be more athletic, more physical as well. And with a wide zone scheme, you want to get these guys out in space. You want them to get moving and set up those cutback lanes for Rashad White and others, and also sets up the play action passing, which we're going to get into here shortly. We'll talk. Really, it's going to be awesome talking about Baker Mayfield and what he can provide for this offense coming up this season if he is going to be the starter. But we feel like he's got the edge because, like we talked about earlier, he just has everything you want for this offense as far as traits and really sets it up very well. So, yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Um,
before we jump into the video, I want to kind of
yeah.
talk about why we think what we know their offense is going to look like, right? Because everyone's like, how the heck do you know? How do you
Mhm.
know he's a good fit? Trask is probably just as good. Well, the only way you know is based off of past experiences. Where is Dave Canales coming from, right? And he's under this tree of Shane Waldron. And where the hell is Shane Waldron from, right? He was Seattle's OC for the past 2 years. Clearly, Dave Canales has that ingrained in his brain right now of knowing, okay, I got to play call like this. Where is he from? Oh, well, he was with the LA Rams. What do you know? From I don't know if you can see that's really zooming in all the way.
Mhm.
Boom. From LA from 2017 up until 2021 when he took over with the Seahawks. So he's a strong Sean McVay, but just homer, I guess. He knows the system that they run, and he brought it to Seattle, and guess what? It worked. It made Geno into a Pro Bowler and big money man. And what did Dave Canales? He has been with Seattle for what 10 years, and now he's taken over Tampa Bay Buccaneers OC, Dave Canales. There you go. So this is why we're kind of saying, based off of Shane Waldron, who was with LA for so long, the offenses are going to be very similar. A lot of men in motion, a lot of tight ends being used, speed and space, illusion of one way, simple in concept, difficult in delivery, the stuff that Dave Canales talks about, and that people think we just start spitting words out of our butthole. But we're going to kind of deep dive into it. So I'll let you see our faces. Talk more on that as I bring up the video.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the offenses, like Mark said, I mean, it's going to be very similar. Dave he was very close with Seattle's offense and really, putting that thing in plan or in place. So you look at Seattle, they ran a lot of tight formations, so a lot of, um, split tight wide receiver sets where guys are, closer to the line. Did a lot of play action stuff, use of tight ends, like Mark said. And then you also mix in motion and the wide zone scheme with the run game. All of that is balanced off of each other. So it's going to be really fun to see the pieces that the Buccaneers already have on offense utilized in that scheme. And it's just taking a lot less off the quarterback, or I should say a lot more off the quarterback. You're making it easier for him to operate a system where everything is preset. Everything is ready as far as doing what you're supposed to do and attack certain matchups, and it all has design. So it's just great to make it easier for the quarterback where it's 1-2 and go, and you don't have to do these option routes where it leads to more risk if the quarterback is not on it every single play.
Yep.
So it allows more variance. It allows more uh, room for error because you have more space created. But let's get into it, guys. I hope you guys enjoy this, and we're going to talk about Baker and why he is a very logical fit at the next level, or for this team, I should say.
Yeah, and this is one of the plays I put on Twitter. If you guys aren't following us on Twitter, I don't know what you're doing. We put up a lot of the stuff early on there and then kind of voice it even more here. I mean, this is a play I put up. Check out quick hike. He goes off, play action. He's going to be good at play action everywhere he goes. Okay, guys. So this is just what he does. And look at this frozen rope he delivers on a dime perfectly right to the chest of the tight end and out of bounds. So I want to look at it from the upper view. Check this out. The two tight ends on the bottom of the screen. That's why I was kind of saying I can see us getting another tight end because they use tight ends a lot. This isn't just LA Rams. Seattle did it as well. So just check out that they both kind of cross to give even more. Holy crap, who do I cover? Not just the receivers do this, the tight ends do it. So if you're getting corners and safeties thinking, what happens when linebackers have to think? Another dimension which LA does a lot of, and that's why people steal their coaches. This is cool to see the overall development of that. Two guys in zone, flood it, and there's Baker's delivering a dime right there. I'll let you talk on that, Bless.
Yeah, so it's a great concept. As you see, again, they're running, the two tight ends at the bottom of the screen where they're just gonna kind of cross here, where just taking up space, and you see the receiver coming across on the flood, the middle of the field. So really good concept where you're attacking that area, and then it allows Baker to see it well, and he's just putting it into a spot. So identifying high low, and he goes with the high option, and again, good play.
Well, I crapped out of setting this one up to zoom it in, but just can he take a hit when he feels the pressure coming after him, or is he going to crumble under the pressure? Literally, this guy's coming full speed, unblocked, coming right for you. He's going to take your head off. Same thing like how we do with Drew Brees. He's smaller, take him out, goes right at the chest. And what does he do? Just delivers a perfect pass right in the hands of the tight end. Again, tight end. So a big reason why it could be early in the draft, it could be late in the draft, but I really do think another tight end's coming. I don't know if it's a veteran, free agent, or what it's going to be, but he can stand in there and take a hit and deliver this with accuracy. So plus, keep talking.
Well, first he identifies the safety comes down to take the running back. So just reading that middle of the field's going to be open. He understands he has the matchup. So he already knows where he's going with the football. So that is really good to see that he has that understanding. And again, this is no wasted movement. He's already getting rid of this football now as the guy's about to hit him. So good job. And yeah, I mean, you can't dial it up better than that. It's just understanding where your matchup is and going after it.
And then more play action. The dude thrives off play action. It's something we've always asked Bucs, just anyone doing play caller for the Bucs to do because it works time and time again. And you don't need a running game to run an effective play action game. And this is just his opposite hash across the field, lasering it. He does have enough arm strength to deliver the throw. It's real nice, right to the chest. And the guy keeps going. And yet again to another tight end. And here we go again. What is he doing? Shotgun. I like that they move him in space. He's not 6'4", 6'5", so they move him towards where the ball should be going. That's helping your quarterback out. A system that knows what it has at quarterback and is utilizing the legs, the mobility, and realizing I don't have a 6'5" guy. I need to move him over to know where the ball is going to go. Correct?
Right, correct. And this is what you're going to see with the Buccaneers offense, movement of the pocket, get him on different platforms where he can find, easier passing lanes and just not keep it, all the same where it's just, oh, drop back, throw it. No, they're going to mix it up with play action. Again, this is a really good play here, showing ability with accuracy while getting hit. And that's something we've already seen already. but this is a great ball here, puts it right in the spot. The guy drops it, unfortunately, but still a great pass that should have been a completion.
And this is another thing. So we're not just looking at him, it's the team around him. It's not just one guy that makes the play. Their offensive line was bruised, battered, and just not there. They were down to like almost third stringers on the offensive line. So not only is he having to run around to save his life, does he have any weapons? Is Cooper Kupp there? No. He has guys like Van Jefferson as the number one. He has Tutu Atwell as number two. The other, I forgot his name. It's like Scrotum. I don't know. Scrotum. I don't know what the hell it was. It was something. And then Tyler Higbee, I believe. So they didn't have that many big weapons. And he's just trying to throw this ball and execute plays when they aren't executing at a high level. And then here's him again, offensive line losing their shoes as well. And he has to escape a little bit, try and direct traffic, and then deliver a good ball. A little bit late. Guy could have gotten there, but again, a good strike, knowing what he does best, getting out in motion, delivering a good ball. Plus, break it down a little bit more.
Right. And this is what we talk about, modern offense, having a quarterback that can extend plays outside of the pocket. That's important. And that's something that, Kyle Trask is going to have to show as well. That's something he's working on. But looking at Baker, he's shown the ability to do this consistently. And that's something that you want at that position. Here, athletic movement is key. Again, being able to fake this one way and then go back the other way to the running back, and it allows for a big play because of the motion, the eye candy, all of that really nice stuff.
And this is just added, not just him, but the fact, look how big this run is. And based off of, like Plus just said, the motion. This guy's coming over here. Everyone's eyes are over here. But no, Baker's going to fake it one way and toss it the other. You didn't really see Tom Brady do this a lot, right? We didn't have this in our offense. Imagine a wrinkle like this in the Bucs offense where no one knows what to expect, and this is what they see. Early on, I could see success, especially with Baker already knowing the offense to some extent, right? And then performing like that. I could see that being a really good thing. And now here's his deep ball. He has an arm, but he doesn't get enough drive on it, and this guy comes out of nowhere because it's a little bit underthrown, too much air on it, and picked off. So there's not just perfect here, okay? Yeah, I mentioned how there's not the best receivers, not the best O-line, but he had time. He had plenty of time, just doesn't deliver the perfect ball here. Plus, talk on that. What did he make a mistake with?
Yeah, here again, he didn't put enough drive on it, like you said, so he needed to probably throw this at the top of his drop. Again, waited a little bit too long with the pat, and then he threw too much air on it. And obviously, I think that's Diggs who comes up with the interception. I want to say, yeah. So again, it's still the right read. It's still everything you want, but he just didn't, deliver it good there. And then here, showing ability to move, really nice. Again, you don't want to see him getting those hits, but still, his ability to get outside and make an athletic play is definitely enticing, and he's a competitor. You just see the competitiveness in him.
Yeah, but we need you healthy.
Yeah,
not,
for
not
sure.
headbutting your own teammates too. That's another thing. Please don't do that, Baker. I know you're probably going to. We're going to laugh, but don't do it as often as you do. And then one more here, is getting to the outside, moving over, shading a little bit over there, like waiting this out, feeling the pressure coming from the right tackle there, sidestepping a little bit, and then lasering this right to the outside. Ability to turn and run up field, not just stop. So, I mean, there's Baker in a nutshell. We could have gotten a lot more, but I just wanted to put the ones mainly with the Rams where it's going to be a very similar offense to what we're going to be running. So you're going to kind of see some concepts like that. A lot of tight end usage, a lot of motion, a lot of just getting the ball out, using your players' strengths to your advantage, stuff like that. So I hope you guys like that type of content. I mean, we're going to try and do another video probably primarily only on Baker. So hope you guys liked it. We talked a lot. So give us your opinions, what you thought. Also, I wanted to say up top, someone asked what happened. I think it was Bud Campbell in Cleveland when he got hurt. He actually tore his labrum in his left shoulder, and I looked it up. It was because of a receiver stopping on a route that caused an interception, and then Baker tried to go in there and tackle the guy. He ended up tackling him, but he tore the labrum in his left shoulder, and then he injured his right knee later in the season. So he was playing with that torn labrum from week 2 the rest of the season. So guy heart of a lion, tries as hard as he can, and then he gets cut or traded that offseason because they wanted Deshaun Watson. So you tell me, a guy that brought the Browns to the the playoffs, won a game in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know. I think he's had bad rap, and some people just want to talk negative about him all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a face that you want to punch, but we just I think it's misconstrued a lot. A lot of the stuff around him. Jason Light talked very highly of him yesterday, saying he's a great teammate. He's heard nothing but good things. Ultimate competitor as always, and he wants to win. And I think the biggest thing for him and for Baker is he wanted to come here. He saw this opportunity and he wanted to be okay. Yeah, so he wanted to be the guy. Obviously, this is probably his last chance to be a starter in this league, because if he doesn't win it here, then he might be in line for a backup role, like you're seeing with Jameis Winston, like you're seeing with Andy Dalton and others, Marcus Mariota. So, yeah, definitely this is the right fit for him. And as we showed in the film there, pocket movement, play action is going to be very pivotal. Running the football. So we're not going to put him. He's not going to be a guy that we're going to put out there to dry, is what I'm saying, and what you're saying as well, Mark. Like, they're going to know what he does best, and they're going to make him do those things. They're not going to ask him to throw it 40 to 50 times, because that's just not going to work. Like, and it's not going to be a repeat of Jameis. Like, we're not going to see that. You're not going to. It's not going to be that way.
I mean, and that's another thing. So people get scared by the 21 interceptions he threw that one year. I think it was 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions.
Right. That was his second year. Yep.
Yeah. Like, that's very similar to what Jameis did, 30-30. Like, not necessarily. Like, Jameis was his fifth year. It was his second year. Defenses usually start picking up on tendencies and stuff like that. And then Cleveland didn't fully use him the way he should have been used. Like, plus, I went back and looked at the Cleveland tape. There's a crap ton of drops. A lot of we don't just show you the highlights. I watched the whole game. And there's just so many drops or just times where it's like, what were they trying to plan on that play? It's not necessarily bad reads. It's, like I said, some people running the wrong routes. There won't be choice routes. It'll just be, this is your route. This is what you're supposed to run. The quarterback has to get it to you here. But it's just the illusion pre-snap that kind of draws the attention to the defense. So if you get them moving one step going the wrong way, you can bite them with an accurate executed pass. It's not thinking too hard. It's not trying too hard. We're just going to execute what we have to do. And that's something that we've been calling for so many years now. Believe it or not, even when we're winning Super Bowls, we're upset about certain things. And people think that's madness. But it is what it is. And I think Baker's set up to have the best opportunity for him. And that's why I'm kind of thinking it's his, right now, it's probably his job to lose. And that's if he doesn't perform, or Cal Trask is really that much more improved. But just the amount of time he's had in the system compared to Trask is a slow learner. I'm thinking it's more for Baker right now, because they said they had a plan in place, right? Todd Bowles said that, not Jason Light. Todd Bowles said, we got a plan and we're going to execute that plan. And I think this is part of it.
Yeah, and Todd Bowles has a familiarity with Baker Mayfield. They competed against each other. Todd Bowles and the Jets faced off against Cleveland, a couple of times. So he's aware of Baker. Obviously, there's history there, and yeah, I think he definitely has the edge because he is the veteran. It's going to take a lot for Trask to get that job, and I'm intrigued. I'm excited to see what happens with the quarterback battle, and who's going to be that first quarterback coming out with the ones to start training camp. That will show a lot. And if Kyle does somehow end up winning the job, then that's just a credit to Jason Light and staff and everyone, making that pick and believing in Kyle, because that's what he does. Like, he's done it his whole career, where he's been doubted and, comes on and gets that opportunity and never lets it go. So that will be something to look for. But yeah, I mean, just what Baker shows on tape, it's a great fit. And I've been saying it on Twitter all week, with the signing. We've been talking about it as well off air. He makes a lot of sense in this scheme because it highlights his strengths. Every strength that we showed on the tape there, that's something that they're going to call like in the game plan because it's what he does well. Play action is one of his best traits. That's something that this offense is all about, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, and like let's think about this through. So he was on Carolina, who did I don't think they even knew what the heck they were doing on offense. They were just throwing things together. Yeah, they could run the ball well, but the quarterbacks didn't really succeed that well.
Mhm.
They just made it as simple after Baker was benched, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And then eventually cut.
right.
They just didn't know what they were doing. They got a guy.
Well, it was a mess, obviously. I mean, they fired the head coach, and
He was
once
the
the
best player.
yeah, they traded their best player. So obviously, once the coaching change happened, they started playing better, obviously, and had a better direction. So Baker was already gone by that time, I believe. So yeah, just and then what Baker did with the Rams was very impressive, especially that first game. And then he had some good games down the stretch. Because guess what? It was a system that fits what he likes to do. And with Sean McVay, calling the plays, and it was good for him. And obviously he showed well. Buccaneers came into this offseason knowing that they wanted to add a veteran quarterback. We talked about Jacoby Brissett. We talked about other veterans, but Baker probably made the most sense. I mean, when you look at it, he just made the most sense. I mean, he was a logical choice because he does have everything you need to execute this offense at a high level, and that's why they went after him. And you look at the money too, great value for what he is.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I just that was like my top guy I was kind of saying. I know I told you a bunch of times. I even mentioned it in our some of our videos. I'm like, there was the top tier guys that people would want, which were probably like Derek Carr, Jimmy G. Everyone kept mentioning those two names. I'm like, there's just
Right.
not going to happen.
No.
We can't afford it. We're going to be bargain shopping. And I said the middle tier, which we could hopefully get to resurrect a career, a la Baker Mayfield. And that was my middle ground that I was like, okay, hopefully we can get this guy because everyone liked him in college. Let's just be honest. Like he just lit it up. He was the first of the Oklahoma lineage of quarterbacks that just lit the whole league up.
Mm.
And the attitude, the desire to win, just the modern type of quarterback can move, make any little throw, and he can make off kilter like throws. He does those underhand throws that you see Patrick Mahomes does. He does crazy things that you're like, how the hell do you get that ball out? But it's also sometimes dangerous because why it's just not normal. This is
Mhm.
not scripted, right? So I mean, it looks good when it works, but when it doesn't, you look like James Winston.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And that's up to the coaching staff. I mean, they're going to have to find ways to control that and make it where Baker is in a good situation to have success and be in a high situation where there's a good probability this play is going to work because you're not asking Baker to be the savior. You just need him to deliver the ball to where it needs to go and building that consistency. And that's what it's going to take. And we'll see if he can do that. And really, whoever's the most consistent is probably going to be your quarterback
yeah,
week one. So that's what we're going to be looking for.
yeah, consistency because
Yeah.
Todd Bowles does not want to lose because his job's on the line too. So
Yeah.
again, part of the plan. This guy is experienced in the plan in the system, and you know what it looks like, and can he bring it over to here where there's a whole lot more weapons to use, and now
Mm.
we're bringing Dave Canales can be some more weapons so we can utilize them in a different way. So I just think if you went from Van Jefferson and Tutu Atwell to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, there's a little bit of a difference. And then I was saying how the tight ends, if you look in the draft, if you get the damn top tight end, and I know everyone wants defense, so do I in the first round. But if the value doesn't match for defense, and Darnell Washington's sitting there at 19, do you take him there? I mean, then you have two Kate Otten, Darnell Washington. You can run those two tight end sets and
Mm.
run it to high efficiency. I mean, 6'6", 6'7" type of guy that can block and be like a six lineman. That's pretty nuts in itself. So very low floor or very high floor on this guy and
Mm.
really high ceiling. So it's really intriguing. It's something that I really was thinking about considering how much do you help Dave Canales, but you need to
Mm.
start filling some holes in that defense, though.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be we would both agree it's going to be a defensive heavy draft for sure. When you look at it, the only offensive positions I see them attacking early in those, premium rounds is probably offensive tackle or tight end.
Yep.
Because those are two positions that you're looking to add more there. Because at tight end you have Cade Otton, who you feel is going to be tight end one, and you feel he's going to take that next step and be that guy. But you also want to add maybe a different dynamic there when you look at like a Dalton Kincaid, who can be kind of a high end George, like his ceiling is probably George Kittle, that type of game where he can be that Y type tight end, or he can flex out, in the slot and be that mismatch kind of player. So when you look at someone like that, or you could go with a Darnell Washington who can do some different things and be an extra blocker. So there's a lot of possibilities there. Offensive tackle too with Darnell White, and I'm forgetting the other guy's name, Anton Harrison, I think it is, out of Oklahoma. He's another guy that could be really good. So yeah, definitely options. But I think defense obviously should be the top tier, in those premium rounds. At least we hope. We hope it's especially defensive line. That's where they need to address.
We always hope, but let's see.
Yep.
Let's figure out what the heck they're going to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, Baker Mayfield, I think, is a good fit. I mentioned how I think he probably has the upper hand on Kyle Trask. I just like him overall in this system.
Mm.
And if Dave Canales can bring this, I've said this before, like look at years past, like when the Chiefs coordinators all went to other teams. Early on, they had success until teams started realizing what the hell happened. Anytime you learn a system to begin with, the offense knows where to go.
Yeah.
Defense has no clue. They're reactionary. So early on, you can get some wins just based off of people not knowing what the hell is happening. They have to guess. And Mike Evans, yes, Chris Godwin, they have to learn the new system, but they get a whole offseason of this. It's not
Mhm.
like they're having to wonder what's going on, and the quarterback has to get on the same page. Like, yes, with the player, but he's already been involved in the system. So I think if it is as simple as he's saying, it's not going to be terrible. Like people think it's going to be Jameis Winston 2.0. I don't see that. I just see so many negative comments about it, and it hasn't
Mm.
even started. And
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I talked with you about it. I think a lot of people just they don't try to look deeper into the process or into the context of why a certain situation didn't work or why it did work. Or so you have to look at, and that's something we try to bring here. It's why is something working or why is something not working? What kind of fit would the Buccaneers present to Baker, and could that be something where success could happen? So that's what we try to show you there with the film study, because when you look at all the variables and you look at everything that Baker has to offer, and he's going into an offense that he's already shown success. His best season was 2020 under Stefanski, who is a Rams type of offense, protege. He did well, and he did well last year with Sean McVay. So you put those two and two together, you get Dave Canales and the same type of offense. Obviously, it's going to be, I think, success should follow, but it still has to happen. He has to go out there and do it. He's got to prove it. He's got to beat out Kyle Trask, and it should be a lot of fun. We'll see if it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Trask is just going to hand it over either. It's like
No.
he went from the mode of holy crap, I finally got my opportunity to now, oh, I got a really good competition. It's not just a guy that they just randomly brought in. Oh, that's
Yeah.
another thing. So I wanted to talk on one more thing, like Jacoby Brissett. Everyone was like, "Oh, he's an option, option, option." Like even the guys over at Peer Report were saying that. I'm like, okay, oh, how does he
Mhm.
fit into like a Canales system? I don't compare him to Geno Smith. I don't really. I know everyone's like, "Oh, his leadership, he's very dependable," but I mean, you want to be able to win now, yes, but that was more if you're about to hand it over to Trask. That's why I think even more like you're like scared, like if you get Baker, oops, now that it takes away from Trask. again, that kind of unveils what was their plan,
Mm.
right? So Trask has to either show he is the guy or it is Baker's. That is what it is, in my opinion, right now.
No, I agree. I think they were looking to bring in, legit competition, and they want to push Trask to the brink. They want to see how high he can bring his game to. Like, how does he have another level than what he has been showing? And maybe this will be the time where he can get it done. But again, it will all be revealed very soon, as these months are gonna go by very fast. Someone said Johnny Manziel 2.0. I don't see that at all. No, Johnny Manziel, completely different quarterback. Can't see the field, can't read it like Baker does. Doesn't have the mechanics either. So definitely not Johnny Manziel. That's
Don't get me
a
wrong. Johnny Manziel was one hell of a fun guy to watch.
college, one of the
Yes,
best college quarterbacks, no doubt.
but it was just all off the cuff. It was none
Yeah,
of it was actually according to plan. It
right.
was, let me make a move here, run around here, and just toss that thing up to Mike Evans.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was
And
fun.
and and that's the difference. I mean, Baker can play within structure and he can also play outside of structure. Johnny Manziel couldn't. And that was the problem. So yeah, definitely not Johnny Manziel 2.0.
And different
And
mentality.
yeah, and that's why we talk about going it more into context, going more into the whys, diving into why is this guy having success, and maybe why is he not. So you have to look at all those things. You have to look at all the variables. Again, quarterback is just one spot in the field. There's 10 other guys that have to do their jobs too to make the quarterback look good. So that's what we're trying to show, and that's what Dave Canales is going to bring here. He said in his press conference, take the quarterback off the high dive.
Yep.
That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. And it should be exciting to see. I mean, Rashad White, I'm so happy for him
Yeah.
because he is, guys, get your fantasy teams ready. He's going to have a great year, especially if he's healthy, ready to go. He's going to do very well in this offense.
And that's one thing where you were
Yeah.
saying about signing Jacoby Brissett, saying eventually for that, or if you sign Carl Nassib, that eliminates the defensive end. Well, they just signed a running back. So
Yeah.
likely not another running back being taken unless it's really low. Like for those thinking, what's his name? Robinson from Texas is going to be here because that was the big thing.
No.
No. I think it's White's job and he's going to run with it. And I think now you have the pieces in place. Let's see if we got a quarterback to run it, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, very exciting times. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was just, on the, I guess, spontaneous live stream, because we don't usually do Fridays, but we just wanted to talk about Baker Mayfield. Mark and myself have been talking about it nonstop. So we are beyond excited to see where this takes place, because it's a new direction, it's a new era for this team, post Tom Brady. So it should be a lot of fun, and it'll be exciting to finally see this offense, especially the players in the offense, be used how they're supposed to be used. And that is something, at least we hope that's what comes true, because he's got to live up to his words that he spoke about. And I think he will, because everything points to him being very smart and understanding how to attack defenses. So yeah, I can't wait. But thank you guys so much for everyone in the chat, the usuals, the new people that we see in here. Love it. Just continue that support. Give us likes, share our stuff. We're gonna have more content coming out over the weekend, so stay tuned for that. And I hope everyone has a great St. Patrick's Day. If you're drinking, be safe. Get an Uber. Don't drive and drink, guys. We don't want to see any of that. So, all right, Mark. Any final thoughts? A lot of fun.
Right. Yeah. Like Bus said, thank you all for being a part of the show. And also, like you just mentioned, like we want to see it from Dave Canales. Like everyone said with Eric Mangini, man genius. He just never really showed it as a coach. Dave Canales, let's see it come to fruition. We've shown you tape of what the offense looks like that he's come from. Hopefully it looks like that here, but with our weapons. Good luck, other defenses. That's why I really think I'm being really high right now, but let's see what it comes to fruition, right? Well, on that, guys, thank you again for being part of the show. It was a great Friday night. Enjoy your brews, whatever you got. And with that said, until the next one, take us out, Pless.
Yep. till the next one, guys. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. But with that said, everyone have a great weekend and go Bucs.
Woo!